Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare down greatness. Won't even lie to you. Don't got too much to say today. You know what it is. You see by the title. We got the finishing of the AFC North. We'll finish with Cincinnati and Baltimore today. So without any further ado, before we get to there, let's talk some NFL news. Go over some NFL news. The Patriots are going to unveil a statue of Brady. This was just recently announced. It will be unveiled 8/8 prior to the Patriots versus Commanders preseason game. Kind of weird they don't do this as for a season opener or something like that, but regardless, I don't think we're going to be too shocked if it's happening. I just hope his statue actually ends up looking good, because you've seen some of these statues that we already know which one I'm talking about. I don't even need to name the name, but there's some of these statues that does not look the best. It's the best way to put it. Some of these statues do not. They don't really look like who they're supposed to be, so look out for that happening on 8/8. Shamar Stewart left minicamp. I think he left it yesterday. He didn't report to mandatory minicamp today. This obviously comes after that stuff we talked about yesterday with the Bengals trying to basically add a new clause into his contract where they can basically void an extra year or two earlier if they end up cutting him or something like that, so they don't have to pay him. Basically, it's something that's never been done before, and the Bengals are the first one to try it. And the situation gets even wilder because Zach Taylor's come out, and I bet you'll be shocked on what he has to say. Zach Taylor's come out, and in a quick sum up from Mike Garafolo, every year you kind of learn something new in this position, and this is just one of those things that the players have managed really well. I mean, you read that right away. That last part is the big part. And this is just one of those things that the players have managed really well. And that's Zach Taylor. This is the head coach, Zach Taylor, saying this. It was reported by Mike Garafolo, but that's the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals coming out and saying that the players are handling this very, very professionally. I mean, this is just an absolute mess. I thought the Bengals did a really, really good job paying Jamar Chase, paying T. Higgins. And then they turn it right around and they go right back to their old ways where they're trying to pull this bullshit to basically, I don't know if it's to try to get ahead. I don't know if I do not get what the purpose of this is, because pretty much in the last CBA agreements between the NFL and the players, like, rookie contracts basically got locked down. Like, hey, this is your rookie contract. This is what you're going to be making if you're drafted at this position. And that's one of those things that's basically understood and not meant to be changed. But, of course, you see the Bengals, they're the one trying to be new with the initiative and changing it. And if we're being honest, no player's ever going to sign it. Like, no player's going to just sign, like, to their rookie contract. Like, yeah, please void years if you cut me so I don't get my money guaranteed. In a contract that was, like I said, NFL CBA already basically said, like, this is how it's going to go. Or NFL PAC, but whatever you want to call it. Just a bad look for the Bengals, because there's a good chance they're going to sign him. And let's be real, if they do all this and then they just sign him to what the regular rookie deal was, and he missed all this minicamp, missed all this time, I mean, this is going to be a bad look for them, especially for a guy. There's a lot of people saying Shamar Stewart needs these reps because he has a lot of talent, a lot of upside, but he didn't really have the production in college. So these would have been really, really great opportunities for him. But instead, the Bengals are being the Bengals, and they're doing what they normally do, and they're just causing issues where there don't need to be issues. Like, I mean, there's truly no reason this should be happening. That's the best way to put it. There's absolutely zero reason that this should be happening right now. So just keep an eye out for that situation, because I'm assuming it's going to get solved. But like I said, it's just starting to become a bit of the things where it's like, of course the Bengals are doing that. I mean, I hate to harp on it, truly, but they just have made a lot of questionable decisions. Like I said, I was praising them for actually signing T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, because I assumed they were going to let one of them walk. And then they've turned right back around, like I said, with this whole Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart situation. They've just made it not a good look, man. And like I said, we're going to talk about the Bengals here in a minute. Very convenient with the breakdown today. But I expect them to be somewhat decent. So that's why it's really, really just frustrating, man. Frustrating to watch them do this. Jimmy Ward, who is the Texans safety, he is facing assault charges. Allegedly for family violence following an incident in Magnolia. Sorry, I about said Magnolia. This comes from a report from the Texans. We are aware of the report involving Jimmy Ward. We are gathering more information. There's no further comment this time. Another one of those things, just keep an eye out for this. We'll see if it actually ends up coming of anything. He just signed, he spent his first 9 years with the 49ers, and then he just signed a 2-year, $13 million contract with the Texans as a free agent. So this is one of those things where I think that they would probably, if it is something super serious, they're just going to get rid of him, not even make it a deal, just be like, all right, move on, we aren't going to deal with this. But assuming that they get it fixed, I assume he's going to come back, because I think Yeah, he got one. Joined them in 2023, and I mean he's been somewhat productive for them. So I don't think it's somebody they want to lose, but yeah, there's a good chance that could happen. Just keep an eye on that. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen from it. We're just going to have to see. Khalil Mack apparently came back with the Chargers to make a playoff run. He's like, it's chasing that feeling of playing important games deep into the season. I can't give up on that dream, on that goal. I'm assuming that within the next 2 seasons, say next season they make a run, the Chargers do, I wouldn't be shocked if he retires after that season if they make a decent run. Maybe plays one more year to see if they can make it a little bit farther. But I'm assuming we're at the end of Khalil Mack, which is crazy to think about because I remember when he first came into the league, he's one of those. It's starting to get to that point now where there's a few of these guys that came into the league when I remember watching week by week every single day, and it's just like, man, that guy's done playing now. That guy, and it's like some of these guys have played for multiple years, and you just see it's like, wow, he's done now. Chris Olave has apparently brushed off concussion concerns and some trade talks that have been going on with him this offseason. He was permitted, he returned to practice last year around December, but he apparently never returned to actual game action and everything. Obviously with everything that went on with his concussions and stuff. And this is a quote that came from Olave. It was tough, man, at first. I never really sat out that long. That was really my first major injury. Just not being able to go and practice and go to meetings with my guys was the worst part. But I feel like I'm ready. I was training and lifting and everything in December, so I feel like I'm good. This is a very similar situation. If we talk about Jaquan Brisker, where these young guys that just have a shit ton of concussions right away in the NFL, and it's like, man, it's just tough because there's so much talent with these guys, but it's like, yeah, they're early 20s. I think Brisker's 23, 24. I'm assuming Olave, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm assuming he's 27, 28. I lied. Brisker's probably I think around that 26, 27 range. I mean, they're much older than 27, 28. And it's just, yeah, Olave has had at least 4 confirmed concussions in his first 3 seasons. 4. I mean, this is a guy, I said, Jaquan Brisker's at his limit. Chris Olave is truly one of those guys where it's if he gets another concussion, the next concussion he gets for sure going to take him out the rest of the season. He could get it in week 1, and I doubt he plays again that season. It's just really, really sad, man. It's just scary for him, too, because we don't fully know what's going to happen with these head injuries and everything. It's just, man, it's just scary, man. The guys like Tua, the guys like Jaquan Brisker, like I said, Chris Olave, it's just, as concussion takes scary. Like I said, he's been in the NFL for 3 seasons, and since 2022. And he's had 4 concussions. And these are nasty ones too, where he's taking massive shots and you just see him there laying on the ground, not moving at all. And it's not moving for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then you see the slow roll over. So these are nasty, nasty hits. So I just hope he's going to be okay and he can figure it out, because like I said, it just sucks. Young talented kid who, yeah, of all things, concussions have just kept him off the field, and it's just, that's just one of those things, man, that's hard to train for, because you don't know if. How do you train your brain to absorb hits and get better? I mean, you can't just go and hit a lat pull machine and all of a sudden your brain's going to be stronger. It's scary, man. Truly, truly scary. Jermaine Pratt has signed a 1-year deal to join the Raiders. I'll admit, of all the teams to join, didn't expect this one. I was kind of thinking he might join the Colts because of his history with Lou Anarumo, but that is not the case. He has a $4.25 million contract. He can earn up to another $500,000 in incentives as well. It's a 1-year deal. He's 29 years old, and he was basically one of the studs for the Bengals. The fact that he's making this much money now and they just let him go, it just makes you wonder what's going on with him. I just wonder if it's one of those things where I just read a comment from some random person that was talking about that they seem to be a Bengals fan. They're talking about how he's a little bit slower than he was 2-3 years ago, which makes sense with age, especially with the linebacker position. I just, like I said, I can't believe the Bengals don't keep him if the Raiders signed him for this. They signed him for a $4 million deal. You can't bring him back on a $4 million deal for 1, maybe 2 years. It's just, that's the part that just blows me, is man, I just let him go. It should be interesting to see what he does with the Raiders, because, yeah, we'll talk about the Bengals defense here in a minute. They've lost a lot of very good players, but we'll just have to see. I think Jermaine Pratt will be a good addition to the Raiders. He joins now Alonde Roberts, Devin White, and Tommy Eichenberg. So that's going to be an interesting little linebacker room right there for the Raiders. Noah Brown was carted off the field during minicamp. It's one of those injuries where it was not immediately clear what happened during his extent, but reporters' attendants reported that he walked off the field slowly after making a catch and he threw his helmet in frustration. I can't remember what he dealt with last year, but it makes me wonder if this is just an issue with what he was dealing with last year. I want to say, wasn't he the hamstring? Oh, he tore his ACL 5 games into 2023. So I'm assuming, but no, he came back last year. So I wonder if it's something where he just like tweaked the injury. Like, I'm not going to speculate because obviously I don't know, but I did see some stuff where a few people were wondering if he did just re-injure that or re-aggravate the same injury from before, but something to keep an eye on for a team that is without Terry McLaurin right now. So you just got to wonder if stuff like this just makes that situation speed up a little bit quicker. Saquon Barkley becomes the first running back since 2017 to top the NFLPA sales list when it comes to jerseys. Shout out to Saquon. Patrick Mahomes number 2, Hurts 3, Jaden Daniels 4, CJ Stroud 5, Josh Allen 6, Aiden Hutchinson 7, Amon-Ra 8, Micah Parsons 9, Justin Jefferson rounds out the top 10. Shout out to Caleb Williams for being top 13, man. That's actually pretty impressive, honestly. There is, how many, are there? Oh, I guess Aiden Hutchinson. I was about to say, there's like almost no defenders on this list, but I read Aiden Hutchinson, I forgot. And there's Micah Parsons. There's about, I think 3 or 4 defenders on this list, 16 offensive guys. Not too shocking there. And the last thing one with, apparently Brian Thomas left practice with an injury, but he seems fine. And it sounds like he's going to be fine. I'll admit, I listened to Liam Cohen talk today on the Pat McAfee show. I'm not going to say I'm back in on the Jaguars, but I might give them a boosted win. I think that what they're trying to build, I still think this is going to be a team where the Jaguars are probably going to be good. Probably next year. I would say this year is going to be a build with Liam Cohen where they're going to be, I think, somewhat decent. Maybe even a little bit better than decent. I don't know, but we'll see. And then next year is going to be the real year where it's like, all right, if the culture is what he's saying it is and everything is what he wants it to be, like next year could be a really, really, really good year for them. So we're just going to have to see there. But that's going to do it for the NFL news. Got through that. So now let's talk some NFL teams. Let's go over the Bengals first, just because they've been an absolute mess. I guess I forgot to mention in the last one, I'm usually supposed to go over the record from last year, but I forgot to mention that. The Bengals last year went, I guess we can talk, Steelers were 10-7 last year, Browns were 3-14. That's for the last video. Now back to this video. Bengals, they finished 9-8 last year after a horrendous, I think it was 1-5 start for them. Absolutely horrible start for them. They also lose defensive coordinator Louis Anarumo. They let him go this year. That's one of the changes they made. They brought in Al Golden in his place, who is the former defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. They had some small changes in the offensive line coaches. Other than that, it's just small coaches here and there. Nothing too crazy when it comes to that. The biggest change was getting rid of pretty much Louis Anarumo. That was the biggest change for the Bengals. Yeah, and we talked about the Zach Taylor, what he had to say about Shamar Stewart. I'm starting to have a little bit more respect for Zach Taylor, too. Just don't think he's the greatest head coach of all time that I've seen, but now that I know what he has to deal with in that organization, I'm starting to be a little more lenient where it's like, all right, you're really fighting an uphill battle with some of the stuff that they're pulling. But now looking at the 2 deep for the Bengals, you got Joe Burrow, who's obviously going to be a starter. Running back-wise, Chase Brown, Zach Moss, Samaje Perine, Tosh Brooks. So I'm assuming Chase Brown's going to get a decent amount of them carries. Wide receiver-wise, you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Yoshivas, Jermaine Burton, Charlie Jones, which, hey, looks like he's going to get a potential, and Kendrick Pryor, who I think they drafted, if I'm not mistaken. But Charlie Jones, a former guy out of Purdue, I think he's going to be, oh, never mind. I guess, by the way, Kendrick Pryor played last year. But no, I think Charlie Jones would be a DT. He was a returner last year. He's going to get a little bit more rules because they got rid of Trenton Irwin. He left in the offseason. Did they get Orlando Brown in free agency? I can't remember. But this offensive line is led by Ted Karras. Defensively, you got B.J. Hill, T.J. Slayton. I mean, Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson will be their edge rushers if they figure out that situation. I assume Shamar Stewart will at least be there. When it comes to Trey Hendrickson, I really don't know anymore. It's starting to get really, really questionable. They lost Sam Hubbard to retirement this offseason, which was really, really sad. I can't think of anybody else that, like, major names that they let go. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 that I'm missing, but yeah, overall, I mean, defensively, DJ Turner, Oren Brooks, Logan Wilson, Demetrius Knight, Jordan Battle, Geno Stone, Cam Taylor-Britt, Dax Hill rounds out their defense. We're going to look at their schedule, man. They're over-under win total before we go through the schedule, just so you can have an idea while I'm reading it. I believe it's 9.5? 10.5? Sorry, 10. I think it's 10.5. I think I misspoke. The over-under, yep, real quick. 9.5 wins. I lied. I thought it was 10.5. Yeah, so it's over-under 9.5. 9.5 is minus 140. I basically, it's them to get, I'll admit, lean the over before we go through the schedule, just for the fact that, like, I think they can improve by one game. But I don't know. With how bad their defense is starting to look, it's making me like, maybe not. But week 1, they're going to travel to Cleveland, then they're back home for Jacksonville, travel to Minnesota. Week 4, they're going to Denver. Week 5, they're back home for Detroit. Then they travel to Green Bay. 2-game homestand for Pittsburgh and the Jets. Week 9, actually 3-game, because Week 9 they're home for the Bears as well. They get a Week 10 bye, which is pretty clutch to have it in the middle of the season. Week 11 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They travel to Pittsburgh. Week 12 they're home for New England. Week 13 they travel to Baltimore. Week 14 they travel to Buffalo. Week 15 home for Baltimore. Week 16 travel to Miami. Week 17 they home for the Cardinals. Week 18, home for the Browns. So that's a nice little thing where they can head, assuming they're a playoff team, they can head into the playoffs with a 3-game winning streak, because I definitely think they could beat Miami, Arizona, or Cleveland, strictly with just their offense. And that's one of those things that come into this breakdown that I realize is I don't think I'm going to take too many props when it comes to the Bengals, but I am going to be interested in a couple of their offensive players. Just looking at their defense, man, I'm trying to feel like, man, how are they going to get stops? Like, just their defense is definitely, especially if they let Trey Hendrickson walk and they're going to let Shamar Stewart walk, but assuming that, like, this situation takes as long as it does and it becomes an issue, like, these guys are going to need some time to get ready. And just more and more, I keep looking at that defense like, man, I just don't know. Like, I want to like their defense, but then some of their players aren't bad, but then they got rid of Louis Anarumo, and then they don't sign Trey Hendrickson, so you just hear stuff like that, and it makes you really, really wonder. This is an over-under. I haven't officially decided if I want to bet or not. I think I will, but I'm going to probably be on the over 9.5. I just feel like it's a good number. 10-7 is not asking too much for them. But, I mean, we'll see, obviously, with how, like I said, that defense is really, really concerning me. And I'll admit, this over-under, 9.5 wins over is minus 140, so there's a good amount of juice on it. That's enough juice where I'm kind of like, I really don't know. But that's kind of why I'm a little bit undecided for it, is the fact that it is, like I said, 9.5, minus 140. Love the 9.5 number, because, like I said, I think max they win 11 games. I don't think they're going to get that far, honestly. But it's more of a fact that I have them about 10-7, like I said. So if I can't get the 9.5, that's just a good enough number where it's like, yeah, I might bite on that. But like I said, the minus 140 has me bit torn away, where it's like, not 100% sure on that. If you like the Bengals to win the AFC North, they're plus 200. I got to think, honestly, this year is kind of between them and the Ravens. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers might have a chance to steal. This is one of those divisions I don't know, man. I would probably pick the Baltimore Ravens to win are minus 130. The Bengals are plus 200. I just would bet the Bengals potentially for the odds, especially if Joe Burrow had an MVP season, a sneaky MVP season last year, but they went 9-8. So you really didn't get basically, I don't want to say see it, but you basically did. It felt like a season that wasn't as good, even though it probably was one of the best offensive seasons we've seen in a while. I mean, he helped Jamar Chase get his triple crown. He had 70% completion percentage for 4,900 yards, 4,918 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. I mean, that is a balling-ass season. Like I said, they went 9-8, and they basically needed him a lot in these games. So that's something when it comes to stats, I'll admit. Kind of intrigued by these Joe Burrow stats. Joe Burrow over 4,200 passing yards. I don't know. If I'm going to bet anything, I think it's probably going to be this or his touchdowns. So Joe Burrow over, it is 4,200 passing yards, and his touchdowns are 33.5. I'll admit, so over 33.5 passing touchdowns, that's minus 122. A little bit nasty, not going to lie to you. A little bit nasty on those odds right there. I would like it to be a little bit better. And for 4,200 passing yards, 4,200 passing yards is minus 114. I don't know. I was looking at his stats, and I was trying to think, like, okay, I think this is something I want. Because you can't, last year he played 10 games, he threw for 2,300 yards, but The 2 seasons before that, I mean, 4,600 yards, 4,400 yards, 34 touchdowns, 35 touchdowns. That seems like if he's going to play a full healthy season and he's going to be kind of at the top of his game, it's going to be about where his numbers are at. And I think, I mean, they re-signed T. Higgins. They brought back Jamar Chase. Re-signed both those guys. They still have Mike Gesicki, who they extended. I mean, their wide receiver depth, a little bit questionable here and there. But they have some guys that might, like Jermaine Burton, if he steps up, he could be pretty good. Charlie Jones has some speed, so he could potentially be sneaky for them. Chase Brown is going to be good in the receiving game. But it's one of those things where it's like it's looking like Joe Burrow's going to really have to carry the offense. And the offense and throwing to receivers seems like it's going to be... It's been their go-to last couple of years. Seems like it's going to be that way again. I still think that it makes me wonder because Jamar Chase is at 3,200 receiving or 1,300 receiving yards, and I was one where I'm like, I kind of want to take it over. And then I looked at his receiving yards history, and yeah, it's 1,400, 1,000, 1,200, 1,700. So now it's 1,325. A little bit too much for me, so I stayed away from that. Something I was really interested in, this was something I think I will take for sure. Chase Brown over 850 rushing yards for the season. I do think I like that because we talked about his rushing or his running back depth behind him. It's not anybody that's like, yeah, they're going to steal the job. And I'm pretty sure that if they didn't pay him, they made it very, very adamant last year in the offseason. Like, yeah, Chase Brown's going to be one of those guys where we like him. We like that guy. We're going to try to keep him around a little bit longer, and we're going to try to do more with him. So that's a guy that I'm going to be for sure looking to. Sorry, I'm trying to rummage through all my papers, basically, and everything that's down. Papers, everything that's open. He rushed for 990 yards last year on 229 attempts for 7 touchdowns. And so, like I said, it was 990 last year, and he's basically going to be the starter for sure the whole season. Last year, I think there was... he didn't start any games last year, but he played in 12. Oh, sorry, that was the year before. Excuse me. He started 10 games, played in all 16. And so I'm just looking at this like, all right, so he's going to get all 16 starts now. He's going to be probably more of the focal point. So you're telling me basically he's going to get those extra 6 starts, and I just get to lose 140 yards. I get a 140-yard advantage. Kind of like that. So like I said, 850 rushing yards for Chase Brown. That is something I really, really do enjoy. Depending on his rushing touchdowns, if they're at like 5, I'm for sure going to take that. I really do enjoy that. But if it's anywhere that's like, if it's around that 7, 8, 9 range, I'm probably going to stay away. They have not released touchdown props, at least for him yet, on books. So that's one of those ones where I'll look for it a little bit later in the offseason. And if I do find it, I'll say it on another show. Because I'll be honest, I'm going to do another show at some point in the offseason that's basically just like lost futures of the summer, which is basically just futures that like, hey, say for example, the AFC North. I did it in early June, and now it's 3rd week of July, and now there's more numbers up for some of these guys I really wanted that weren't up before. I'll come back and double check some of those for sure then. But like I said, I do like Chase Brown to get over 850 rushing yards. I do think that mine's 114 as well. I do think that's something that's really, really doable, and probably one of my favorite ones out of all of them. Bengals score 1+ touchdown every regular season games, minus 130. That is one I will be taking as well. I'm not going to take very many of these, honestly, because we took a good amount last year, and I think I maybe hit 1 or 2 max. Bengals score 1+ passing touchdown every game, plus 420 if you trust in Joe Burrow. I do trust in Joe Burrow, but I'm not going to go all the way there with that. And yeah, that's just one where, like I said, so the Joe Burrow passing yards, the Joe Burrow touchdowns, those are basically, there's 3 massive bets that I'm gonna love. I guess I don't know why I said massive bets. There's 3 bets that I massively like. It's Joe Burrow over 4,200 passing yards, Joe Burrow over 33.5 passing touchdowns, and then Chase Brown over 850 rushing yards. I looked at Jamar Chase. Yards are a little bit too high. T. Higgins, yards a little bit too high for my liking. I'm not saying these guys aren't going to hit it. It's just I had a certain number in my mind that's where it's like, all right, if it's around this range, I'm going to like it. And both those numbers are just a tad bit higher, so I'm going to stay away from that. And yeah, I like the Bengals to win over 9.5 games. I think they're going to finish about 10-7. I just don't know if I'm going to personally bet it, just because I don't know what's going to happen with that defense. That defense is my biggest concern. I'm curious to see how Al Golden's tenure there goes. I'm curious to see what he's able to turn over, if he's able to change anything. They need to fix that defense bad. And it also will help if they can start scheming up the offense a little bit better to hold on to the ball a tad bit longer, because they do. There were a few times last year where they're just throw. All right, we got to punt. Throw. All right, we got to punt. Throw. All right, we got to punt. And they're wasting no time off the clock. And then they're just making their defense stay out there for a little bit longer than they should. It's just there's a decent amount they need to fix. I think offensively they're going to be okay this year. I mean, they had an MVP last year. If they can keep Joe Burrow upright on the offensive line, they're going to be okay. Just the biggest thing is they got to keep Joe Burrow upright on the offensive line, and they got to figure out that defense, man. That defense can get the defense might be looking dusty a little bit if they aren't able to figure some stuff out here soon. Because they have some guys that can definitely get some stuff wrong. But first off, they need to sign Trey Anderson and Shamar Stewart, and they also just need to maybe sign a few more defenders back instead of just letting everyone go in free agency. But, like I said, the Bengals to win the AFC North, I think we talked about that, was plus 200. I wouldn't mind it. I'm personally probably not going to take it, but I would definitely not mind it at all. That leaves us with one final team for the AFC North. We've gone over every single other team. It is now time for the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have some small coaching changes. Nothing too major. But Chuck Pagano has returned to the Ravens as the senior secondary coach, so they're just going to bring him in. They robbed him from the Pat McAfee show and brought him in. Other than that, a lot of other small names as well. I think they have a new assistant strength and conditioning coach. Tyler Santucci is an inside linebacker coach. So just stuff like that. Nothing too major. Because Todd Monken is going to be the offensive coordinator still. Zach Gore remains as the DC. And Chris Horton still stays on as their special team coordinator. John Harbaugh is the head coach. Nothing changes there. So looking at this depth chart, speaking of nothing change, we got the same running back. We got the same backfield from last year. Same quarterback, same running back. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell will follow him up as well. Wide receiver-wise, you got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker. I mean, these are all the same guys. Two new additions. DeAndre Hopkins brought him in from the Chiefs, and LeJontay Wester. He was a wide receiver for Colorado last year. I really enjoyed him at Colorado. I thought he was pretty decent. So I think he'll be a good addition for them. And him and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not going to say are very similar, but I don't know. I feel like he was like I don't want to say a worse version, but kind of worse version, maybe. But I think there would be a decent amount you can learn from there. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler are their tight ends. Patrick Ricard still their tight end, or fullback, excuse me. And then you got Lindenbaum, Rosengarten, and I about said Jason Voorhees, Andrew Voorhees, Daniel Falele, and Ronnie Stanley. I mean, really solid offensive line. Then defensively, you got Matabike. Excuse me, I said Mbake, not Matabike. Travis Jones, Roderick Washington, Colin Van Noy, Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, excuse me, Odafe Owe, Nate Wiggins, Kyle Hamilton, a rookie, and Malik Starks, Chibido Awuzie, excuse me. Man, that was rough. And Marlon Humphrey. Man, so you're telling me this is a team in Baltimore who their over-under projection is at 11.5 wins. Basically, have this team being a 12-win team. I want to say I lean the under, but this might be one where I don't have an over-under for you because I just think this is going to be a really good team, and I just don't. Yeah, I guess we'll just go through your schedule real quick before we decide that. Week 1, they're traveling to Buffalo, home for Cleveland, home for Detroit, travel to Kansas City, home for the Texans, home for the Rams, Week 7 bye. That is a tough 6 weeks to start the season, man. Tough 6 weeks. You're playing 3 of the better teams in the AFC in Buffalo, Kansas City, Houston. Then you play Detroit, and then you get a playoff team in the Rams. I mean, the Browns are the only team that's basically like a takeoff game, but that's a division game, so you never know with those. And then you go into Week 8, you're home for Chicago, 3-game road trip where you travel to Miami, to Minnesota, to Cleveland, 3-game homestand where you're home for the Jets, home for the Bengals, home for the Steelers, travel to the Bengals, back home for New England, then you travel to Green Bay, travel to Pittsburgh. Yeah, so looking at I would not be shocked if this team wins 12 games. I'm going to be pissed if I take an over-under at 11.5 and lose it because of 11. I think this Ravens team is going to be really good regardless. The only reason I would lean under is because I project them to about 11 or 12. This is another one of those win totals I think is like right on the line. So if I had to pick, I would take the under 11.5, but that's not like an under as in like, oh, I think that's going to be swimmingly under. I just think it's an under that, like, I would not be shocked if the Ravens win this by 1 game. They miss it by 1 game. If that hook comes into play, would not be shocked at all. But yeah, that's one, like I said, that's not really something I'm going to take. That's just if I had to pick it, I'd lean the under a little bit there, but we're just going to have to see. Last year, the Ravens went 12-5, so that's basically, let's see. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose to Buffalo, lose to Detroit, maybe beat Kansas City. They lose to the Bengals, lose to the Steelers 1 game each. There's 2 of their losses. lose to Buffalo or Detroit, we'll take one loss there. There's 3. I mean, there's a really good chance the team goes 12-5 again, but I wouldn't be shocked if they maybe drop one game and, oh, God forbid, they go 11-6. Like, it's because I think the Steelers are going to be a slight bit better because of Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. So I think the quarterback play, because I won't lie, the Steelers games last year, the quarterback play kind of killed them a little bit. So I think if the quarterback play can step up, there's potentially a steal there. But we're going to see. I mean, Lamar had a really, really good season last year as well. So if he continues to play good, then they're just going to win in general, and it's not going to matter. When it comes to the futures, not going to lie, this is another one of those ones where I'm probably just going to end up. I don't think I have too much for this team because I was just looking through, and I'll try to find it again because I did lose it. But I had Lamar. I was just looking at some of Lamar's stuff, and it's like, man, he's coming off a really, really good year, and an MVP worth a year. But I feel like some of his numbers are just a slight bit inflated. Because if you look at his passing yards, for example, his passing yards over under is at 34.50. Immediately, I'm like that. It's like, I would lean the over. That doesn't sound like too bad of a number. But then you go to his career, and last year he threw for 4,100 yards. Year before he threw for 3,600. So he could potentially make that an NBA Jam doing it 3 years in a row. It's just, man, do I want to bet on basically 3,500 yards is what you're betting on. And he's only hit that the last 2 seasons. Any season before that, he did not. So you could argue, yes, I mean, he had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions last year, too. I mean, this guy balled out, let me be honest. Let's be honest here, people. And then you look at his passing touchdowns, over-under passing touchdowns, 28.5. That's another thing where even that number, he hit that in 2019, 2020, and then he hit it last season. So there's just a little bit more inconsistency with him where it's like, I do think he's going to hit these numbers, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm trying to be a little bit more disciplined this year. I'm at least going to have like 1 or 2 bets on it. I think most teams. But I'm trying to really, really narrow it down so I can up my unit. So instead of I think last year was a lot like heavy 30, 40, 50s. I want to try to make it where it's like, all right, everything I'm giving out, unless touchdown, I won't lie to you, anytime touchdowns, going to be a little bit different. Those are always a little bit lower in money. But I'm trying to get to where everything I give out is like, all right, this is basically a $100 bill. Like, for example, that Chase Brown over 850 rushing yards. That's basically a $100 bet going on that. That's why I'm trying to get to that point, too, so I gotta sacrifice some of these other ones that aren't needed. Like I said, I would be, if I wanted to force something, I definitely would take Lamar Jackson. Probably his passing yards. I feel like the passing yards is a bit more the safer one. So we'll do over, I'm just writing this down as a maybe, and a maybe I'll bring it back. 250.5 pass yards. I don't know. Like I said, this is one of those ones where I look at it. It's like, I think I'm good, so I'm going to pass on that. Derrick Henry, his over-under rushing yards was 1,300. That is one where I'll be honest, I might take that. If you look at his career, last year he had 1,900. Season before that, 1,100. Season before that, 1,500. So, I mean, he's hit it 2 of the last 3 seasons. 1,300. I mean, it's 600 less rushing yards. I just don't. He had 325 attempts last year. Year before that, 280. Year before that, 349. So it's just one of the things. If he's healthy and he's out there, I don't think there's going to be an issue with that at all. If he's not healthy and he's not out there, that's where it's like, I don't know if I like this too much. So we're gonna. That's one where I don't know, man. I like it. I like it, but it's like one of those things where it's like I like it, but my gut's kind of telling me like, just lay off it, man. You have so many other futures you can play. So, won't lie to you, that's another one like the land of misfit toys, the land of lost futures. That's one where you'll probably see that Lamar Jackson passing over, or the Derrick Henry rushing over. Because past that, like Zay Flowers, they don't have any receiving stats up for him. I looked at least I didn't think so. I could have missed it. Oh, they did. So he had 900. I was looking at that. That's another one. Like I said, that's another one where I get the number. It's like, I kind of like that. And then you look up Zay Flowers and you look up his career stats. Last year he had 1,059 receiving yards. Year before that, 858. So it's like, yeah. And it feels like they kind of. That's another. Oh, man. That's another one where it's tempting. But I feel like he's basically done the same thing twice the last few seasons. Except for. I mean, targets are about the same. He got 8 more targets this year. He had 3 less receptions. 4 and 5 touchdowns each year. I mean, it's just. I don't know. I won't lie to you. It's another one of the things where I. Tempted. But I don't think I. I don't think I will. If anything, I'd probably replace the Derrick Henry one with the Zay Flowers one, or it'd be one or the other. That's probably what it's going to come down to. That's honestly I'll be honest, it's probably what it's going to come down to. You basically, so this is my thinking process before I came on, when I came with the Derrick Henry. I was almost like, do I even talk about these? Because these are ones where it's like, I'm kind of tempted, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, I don't think if I had to pick between the two, that's probably what's going to end up coming down to. We talked about the wins. Baltimore Ravens win the AFC North. We talked about it. It's minus 130. I wouldn't be shocked if they win it again. They look like they're set to... I mean, they're basically bringing back a lot of the same team as last year, and that was a team that was one play away from the AFC Championship game, pretty much. So, would not be shocked there if they run it back and have another great season. Baltimore to score 1+ rushing touchdown in every regular season game is plus 2,200. That's one where it's like, yeah, I'm not putting $100 on that. You can best believe. You can best believe. That might be one where it's like a $15, $20 sprinkle. Where it's like, because yeah, I don't think they'll score a rushing touchdown every game, but it's one of those ones the odds are so big that why not, man? But yeah, like I said, that's plus 2,200. I don't think I'm gonna take that. It feels like it's little bit too big. But final thoughts on the Bengals, or not on the Bengals and Ravens before I give out my official futures I took today and call it. I think there's two teams that are gonna be basically. I think the Browns are really, really going to struggle in this division, but I think that the Bengals. I very much think it's going to be the Bengals and Steelers fighting for 10-7, 9-8, 11-7, or 11-6. Excuse me. I think it's basically going to be around that. Either one of those. I think that I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers are 9-8 and the Bengals are 11-6, or vice versa. The Steelers are 11-6, Bengals are 9-8, and then the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to be 11-12 win team. Bengals and Steelers, I think that one of those two teams will be 10-11, the other one will be around 9-10. I think this is going to be another good year for the division again. But yeah, I just can't. If I had to project the division in order, just guessing right now, I would say we'll just go Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and we'll say the Steelers and Bengals are separated by a half a game. I would not be shocked if you can flip those. I think the Ravens do win the division again, just because of. As a team as a whole, they're bringing back a dominant team. Bengals are really struggling on defense, so I really don't like that. And then Steelers just have an old quarterback. I'm not really a big fan of their wide receiver room. I'm not the biggest fan of the Ravens wide receiver room, but there is a lot more I like there than versus the Steelers, especially depth wise. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for today. My official futures for the AFC North Part 2. We are taking Chase Brown over 850.5 rush yards. We're taking Joe Burrow over 4,200 pass yards and 33 and a half touchdowns. If you want to take one or the other, I can't really blame you for either. If I had to pick, I'd probably lean the pass yards over the touchdowns, but I'm going to be taking all three of those. Bengals score 1+ touchdown every game is minus 130. I'll be taking that as well, just for the fact. I won't be shocked if that doesn't hit. For minus 130, that's not going to be high on my priority list. That's probably going to be one of the last futures I take this offseason. But it's just one where I think the Bengals, if they're going to be competitive in a lot of these games, they're going to have to score. And they have a good enough offense where they should score every game. Then when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to be taking probably Zay Flowers over 900.5 receiving yards. I think that's one I really locked in on. No, I didn't. Don't take that away. The only ones I'll be taking are Lamar Jackson over... You think I even don't know that? Basically, I'll give you these three. I'm deciding between these three. These are the three I'm deciding between for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson over 3,250 pass yards. Derrick Henry over 1,300 rush. Or Zay Flowers over 900 receiving yards. I'm assuming, basically in that order is kind of how I feel about it, so I think I'm going to go Lamar if I do pick one of those, but don't be shocked if I end up with Derrick Henry. Really don't know if I'm going to take the Zay Flower one, just because I just really don't know, and he's coming off being injured last year. I'm assuming he's going to be fine, but not 100% sure there, and then 1+ rush touchdown every game for the Ravens. That's going to be like a $20, $30 sprinkle for hey, if that hits, that cleans up a good amount of our futures, because haven't given out too big of a long shot yet, so plus 2,200, that's some big odds there. So just to repeat that one more time, Joe Burrow over 4,200 passing yards, Joe Burrow over 33.5 passing touchdowns, Chase Brown over 850.5 rushing yards, Lamar Jackson over 3,250 passing yards, and then the Ravens score 1+ rushing touchdown every single game. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for support. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed on Tuesday to go over some NFC team. I won't lie to you. I think we might keep the theme and just keep it up north and go NFC North. I think most of their teams are pretty much like set in stone, where it's like there's only going to be one or two minor changes here and there that shouldn't affect it too much based on the way I break it down. So look out for an NFC, probably North, like I said. It'll probably be NFC North next week if we're being honest. It's going to be an NFC team for sure. Might go West if I want to get spicy or something like that. But that's the plan for next week. Just basically go over some more futures, talk about some more NFL news, see if there's anything you can miss. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Shout out to the Indiana Pacers, up 2-1 going into Friday's finals. Feels like that Game 4 Friday. Whoever wins that game potentially is going to win the final. Very excited about that. We got some hockey tonight. The Florida Panthers are up 2-1 in that series. Then we got the U.S. Open this week. Going to be a great weekend of sports. Great weekends of final actions as well. And hey, it's official, people. 84 days until NFL Week 1. See you back in this feed on Tuesday.